Good afternoon. An incident happened yesterday morning while an old dilapidated building collapsed in Secunderabad, killing 13 poor people who are basically, most of them were laborers, having a cup of tea in the morning, and the entire building collapsed, killing them and injuring severely another 25 of them. The disaster rescue took hours and it's still going on as we speak after 24 hours and beyond. And people who are stuck under the crevices, under the rocks, under the slabs which fell, still had all the trouble of going through the pain and dying because there is lack of equipment, there is no timely response, and there is absolute callousness by the GHMC, the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation, in making sure that these dilapidated buildings are brought down even before they come down by themselves. The Commissioner, Krishna Babu, seemed to be lost in his own world by not even caring for these people who died, because it will just be washed off after 2 days of media exposure. Whether Krishna Babu, the Commissioner, or anybody else, the system has to be reworked. The system has to be made sure that it works to care for the people of this state, city and the country. The irony in this nation, though, is the value of the citizens of this country is almost negligible, and it is directly proportionate, and how much negligible it is directly proportionate to how much money you don't have. So the poorer you are, the least bothered anybody is about whether you die or live, and the value of your death or life is almost the same. And the higher you go, I think you're protected by your own wealth, so there is less to worry about. Having said this, Bharatiya Janata Party is grieved, is pained, and extends a heartfelt condolences to all those 13 departed souls, untimely death, young people. And also we extend our solidarity to those families who are mourning today of the loss, along with those who are severely injured and going through a very tough time in their life right now. And there is hardly anything more than what condolences we can give. There is hardly anything more we can do about this as a party which is not in power in the state. While we will try to help those who are in need in the hospitals, but that's all we can do. So, having said this, I wanted to also express on behalf of Bharatiya Janata Party that there is a massive need for looking at these calamities and disasters from a different perspective. When we see this disaster happen, it's more disastrous to see that everybody who's on the road there just come onto this incident site, and everybody gets onto the site and gets onto the slabs which are already collapsed, and they start trying to help. But the issue here is you cannot help in that situation without having an equipment or without having a training necessary for a disaster relief or a disaster rescue. So you should stay out. The citizens who are around should stay out, and if they need to probably help the officials there in transferring the bodies, they should do that, but they shouldn't get into the site. They shouldn't get onto the event site or the disaster site. They should know that they're not trained professionals to handle these kind of issues. But you know what? I think it also gets into a stage where these are the people who help, despite the fact they might hurt a little. Because if the government machinery doesn't allow or arrive on time, what are they supposed to be doing? Stand and watch there? They cannot. So while it is very, very unfortunate that these people have to enter, the untrained masses have to enter the disaster site and help, it is also that disastrous, and it's also that unfortunate that the government machinery doesn't reach on time. So it is necessary to have categorization of disasters. It is necessary to have a force which works, whether it's fire or police or a combined force, which works for disaster relief and disaster management and also disaster rescue. They should be trained, they should have equipment, the gas cutters, the proclaimers and the JCBs. So all these are necessary, and we still seem to live in some primitive world where we are not ready whenever anything happens, whether it is Uttarakhand floods, whether it is the collapse of buildings in Hyderabad or in Mumbai or in Delhi, wherever we see just massive death and an unending disaster relief or rescue. It's very, very heartening, and it's also very heartbreaking to see how easily that in India we see these lives are lost with the callousness of the governments which govern less and politicize more. And it is all about, from the day you come into the power on the chair as chief minister or as any minister, you tend to just work towards staying there in that chair forever and start the work on the political front rather than focus on the governance. It's so unfortunate that the governments continuously express callousness on the people's lives, and they seem to do nothing about it time and again. After the media cry dies out, everybody goes back home and they do their stuff, and these people who lost their lives don't even get the compensation at times. The Dilsukh Nagar blast victims till today haven't got the compensation. Can you believe that? So this is the state of affairs of the Congress-ruled governments in our country, and it's about time that India decides to unseat these people and make sure that we have responsible governments, and especially governments which are empathetic to citizens, understand the roles and responsibilities of governing, and make sure that we respect the freedoms and the rights and responsibilities of those who vote us into power. With a very, very heavy heart, I sign off.